afternoon. This is Amanda Gooseman, and this is my Unit 6 speech on understanding of memory and communication as it relates to the brain structure. Memory is considered to be the processes of storing and maintaining information that is perceived by our senses over time. Perception uses previous knowledge to interpret the stimuli that is gathered and registered by our senses. Perceptual learning is the ability to learn and recognize stimuli that have been perceived before. This combines information registered by our eyes, previous knowledge about the objects and environments we see, hear, taste, smell, or touch, and previous knowledge about what to expect when our visual system has already processed something familiar. The brain consists of billions of neurons that communicate with each other through their synapses. Neurons can have hundreds of synapses connections with other neurons. Together they form complex networks that are responsible for the brain's functions. Over time, the synaptic connections can change through synaptic plasticity. The nervous system demonstrates synaptic plasticity among existing neurons in learning and forming memories. Frequently used synapses are strengthened, while rarely used connections are eliminated. This plasticity is believed to underlie the process of memory formation and retention. If a memory is no longer needed or rarely recalled, the synapse associated with it will diminish. The strength of a synapse is measured by the excitability of the postsynaptic neuron in response to a given stimulus to the presynaptic neuron. Repeated stimulation strengthens synaptic connection over time, known as long-term potentiation, or LTP, and is thought of cellular memory formation. Implicit, or non-declarative memories, are memories that we do not have conscious awareness of, such as procedural memory. Classically conditioned memories, such as explicit memory, are memories like semantic and episodic memories, which are personal experiences. Stored knowledge interacts with and shapes lower-level sensory processing and therefore contributes to almost every other cognitive process. We would have very little functional ability if we had no ability to recall or utilize our memory. Short-term memory is also referred to as working memory. This is the type of memory that simultaneously stores and processes information. This is why it plays a central role in understanding language, but also in cognitive processing. Short-term memory can only hold a small amount of information that has recently been taken in by the environment. In contrast, long-term memory has a much larger capacity and holds memories from experiences and information that we accumulate throughout our lifetime. Sensory memory is a storage system that records information perceived from each of the senses with reasonable accuracy. Long-term potentiation strengthens the synaptic connections of neural pathways to enable us to draw out memories more easily. Memories are not stored in one specific location, but stored in multiple locations. The 4 areas of the brain involved in encoding and storing memory are the cerebral cortex, hippocampus, cerebellum, and amygdala. The cerebral cortex and cerebellum are the primary storage units of memories, whereas the amygdala and hippocampus are primarily responsible for encoding information and transferring information. The cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain, and this is where long-term semantic and episodic memories have neural networks all over the brain based on where it is relevant, like visual information in the occipital lobe. The cerebellum, located at the base of the brain at the rear, is responsible for encoding and temporarily storing implicit procedural memories, but also forms and stores implicit memories of classically conditioned reflexes and coordinates fine muscle movements while regulating posture and balance. The hippocampus transfers short-term memory to long-term memories. The hippocampus is responsible for us being able to learn new information and encoding into long-term memory. It is located within the brain's temporal lobe, under the surface of the cerebral cortex. It has the role in formation of memories, but not in storage and retrieval. Electrical stimulation of circuits with the hippocampal formation can lead to long-term synaptic changes that seem to be among those responsible for learning. The amygdala is involved in encoding, but not in storage, and assists in processing our emotions. Therefore, the amygdala is highly connected to emotional memories. Emotionally arousing experiences release adrenaline, which induces the release of noradrenaline. that activates the amygdala and triggers the hippocampus that encodes specific details, such as a flashbulb memory. It's obvious that something as simple as memory, a biological unconscious act that we so often take for granted, is nothing short of a phenomenon when we consider all of the different aspects of our brain structure and neural actions that have to take place to create and store just 1 second of a memory. Thanks.